My name is Eliana Golding, and I'm a senior policy analyst at the DC Fiscal Policy Institute, a nonprofit organization that shapes racially just budget, tax, budget, and policy research and advocacy. DCFPI is also a member of the Fair Budget Coalition and supports their platform. Displacement is a multifaceted problem that has come in many forms at different times throughout the district's history, and Black and Brown communities have borne the brunt. Despite recent groundbreaking local investments in housing production, DC has not sufficiently prioritized more medium-term strategies, such as preservation, to support residents with the lowest incomes and stem the displacement of residents of color. Today, I will focus my testimony on asking the Council, this committee, and DHCD to prioritize displacement prevention and affordable housing preservation by investing in the Affordable Housing Preservation Fund and designating a portion of the Housing Production Trust Fund specifically for preservation projects, and protecting the Tenant Opportunity to Purchase Act by funding programs that allow TOPA to continue contributing to the creation and preservation of affordable housing. Preservation of existing affordable housing, whether it is naturally occurring or income restricted, is an essential part of a robust displacement strategy. The Preservation Fund is a revolving loan fund that allows the district to leverage private dollars to offer short-term acquisition, pre-development, and critical repair financing to developers for projects that preserve existing affordable housing. Loans from the Preservation Fund are not permanent financing, meaning borrowers must also apply for and secure long-term financing from public agencies and other private lenders. The Preservation Fund is a successful program, and the district should continue to support and invest in the fund. Since the creation of it, fund managers have deployed $166 million, resulting in the preservation of 2,500 units affordable at 80% median family income or below. Currently, there are still $120 million in outstanding loans, meaning many of which are maturing in the next 2 to 3 years, meaning that borrowers must soon find permanent financing sources in order to sustain the projects. Nearly all of the outstanding Preservation Fund loans rely on a mix of tax-exempt bonds, low-income housing tax credits, and HPTF awards. But unfortunately, broader economic trends mean that these sources of financing are in high demand and short supply. Some of the Preservation Fund pipeline projects have secured funding awards through the trust fund. However, the vast majority of them have not received funding, though many have applied through several rounds of consolidated RFP process and are again waiting for another chance to apply. Between fiscal year 24 and 26, projects that received acquisition financing through the Preservation Fund will need $58 million of gap financing from the trust fund to preserve over 1,400 units. Some of these projects have been waiting for so long and are in such dire condition that the owners of these properties who have acquired them in order to preserve their affordability and the tenancy there are now forced to sell these properties. These sales would jeopardize the future affordability and housing stability of the tenants who live there. The district can mitigate the preservation financing crisis and ensure that preservation projects and the tenants who live in those buildings have secure futures by designating $5 million in flexible funds for existing preservation projects to pay for carrying costs associated with loan extensions. Providing flexible funds will also mean that borrowers not have to sell off their portions of their affordable housing portfolio. It is important to note that people living in affordable properties, especially properties suffering from deferred maintenance, are more likely to be Black or Brown renters. Providing funds to preserve the affordability and improve the quality of those buildings is essential to ensuring that these tenants have a safe and healthy place to live. The district should also set aside at least a quarter or even a third of trust fund allocations for preservation projects. Given my limited time, I'm going to move on to speaking about TOPA. Adopted over 40 years ago, TOPA gives district renters the first right to purchase a property when an owner decides to sell. TOPA is an essential tool in the district's toolbox for the development and maintenance of affordable housing across the district. TOPA preserves affordable housing and prevents displacement and improves housing conditions. When tenants negotiate with potential purchasers of their homes, they can negotiate accommodations that include building conditions improvements, temporary relocations during renovation, and rent stabilization. At a time when DC residents are most at risk of displacement as a result of rising housing costs and deteriorating housing conditions, the district government has the opportunity to take steps to better support TOPA and to achieve its intended outcomes. I want to echo what Judy and others have testified about. I want to ask for reinstating expansion and funding of the First Right to Purchase program and enabling community-based organizations to support tenant organizing, asking DHCD to publish and share with community-based organizations the weekly notice of all properties that are intended to sell. This allows tenant organizers to reach tenants before bad actors can reach them. The district must adopt a holistic strategy to prevent displacement of Black and Brown tenants from the district, and this strategy must include a firm commitment to preserving both the district's affordable housing and the rights of renters who live in that housing. Thank you so much for the opportunity to testify, and I look forward to discussing these recommendations and answering any questions you might have.